You know, we are going to work with Kali Linux a lot in this course, so get ready for a quick review over the basic Linux commands and some concepts which we are going to need in order to do our tasks and also our operations in this course. So the next thing that I want to talk about is just go to the Google and search for Linux cheat sheets. There's a lot of resources there. You can use these images. You can use a lot of articles here and have a review of Linux basics or basic commands. And also I can recommend you our other course, which is called Linux Command Line and Terminal Productivity, Z2E, which is a great course about Linux. In this course, we are going to work on more than 100 modern shell-based tools, and also a lot of topics are covered. For example, if you come here and see, we started at the beginning with kernel, shell, Linux productivity, package managers, command line chaining, hardware, network, file permissions, and also managing users, networking, sysdig, and shell scripting. And also there's an interesting subject here, or let's say section here, which is about WSL, or let's say WSL, which is Windows Subsystem for Linux. And I recommend you to go and get this course, move with it, and enjoy the concepts. But if you didn't, it's okay. We are going to cover just enough in this course to move on. So we have, let's start with system commands. We have uname, which displays Linux information. So I'm going to test some of these commands. So you say uname, and you can say uname-a. So for every command, you can use --help to see the help, and you don't need anyone else. You can just query every program or binary in Linux, or every program in Linux, and see what are the options. For example, it says if you use -a, it prints everything. And you can get man. Man is the command that retrieves the manual for that specific program. So man uname, you see a lot of information here. And mans are always bigger than the simple helps. So let's move forward to the next command. We have uptime, which is self-explanatory. We have hostname. We can say show system reboot history. So Control L, last reboot. And also last shows us the latest logins to our system. So if I use this tmux feature and navigate, as you see, we have users here. We have the TTYs. We have the corresponding connecting address, for example, connections from this source. And we have the date and also the status, which is, okay, how much time it took. For example, this is about 3 days, 8 hours, and 19 minutes. No logout. And it's gone, it's still running. So you see, every status is just declared in here. So we have date, we have time CTL, time date CTL. As you see, we have local time, universal, and others. We have cal, which displays the current calendar. We have w, display currently logged in users, so the w command. So you see, I have a user with XFCE session, this session here, and also I have another session here with tmux. So you can see who is currently logged in. Who am I? Displays information about the currently logged in users, and also ID. As you see, we have the UID, we have the GID, the groups that this Udemy user is joined. We can finger user, so finger Udemy, and it retrieves the information about Udemy, the login name, the shell, the home directory, and the activities of that user, and also some mail and other stuff here. So let's continue. In regards with hardware, we have the message, displays boot up processes. So as you see, we need operation not permitted. We can use sudo, put the password. As you see, we have information about some hardware information, USB devices connecting or disconnecting, and network adapters are down or up, and stuff like that. So you see, everything in Linux are files. So cat proc CPU info. If you cat this file, you see CPU information is just stored in this specific file here, and we can go for also memory info. So mem info, as you see, in CPU info, let's get less. This is command piping. You can pipe the output of this command to this next command here, and let's see. So you see, in with less, yeah, it's 1 page. So, but if it was more than 1 page, with less, we could just navigate through every page. So as you see, we have the cores. We have so number of the cores is 1 because this is a virtual machine and we didn't increase the number of cores. You see, we have the, what do we have? a lot of information here. The cache size, the CPU power, which is about 2900 megahertz, and we have other information here. So as you see, Core i7 and the brand of this CPU chipset. So the memory, let's give it to less. Yeah, as you see, I can go one page at a time with page down and page up, and I can go the other way with the up and down arrow keys. So you see, the total memory to this machine is about 4 gigabytes. The free memory, the available memory, and other information here. So that's these two files. So we have LSHW, display information about system hardware configurations. There might be a possibility that some of these commands are not located or founded in your system, so either you have to install them or they are deprecated. So let's see, sudo apt search, what was the name, lshw, do we have it? Yeah, so sudo apt install lshw, and the installation process. So the installation in Kali Linux is through the apt package manager, and sudo is for super user operations. Searches for packages, even if you type parts of them, but installs them. So as you see, the installation is completed and the dependencies are took care of. So let's run sudo lshw. So you see all my specifications. So we can continue. We can display the block devices, see the status of the memory, and other information here. So you can go and run these commands for yourself, but here we go through some of them. So the ID command, the last, the who. So who, you see the currently logged in users, shows who is logged in into the system. You can create new groups, new users, delete users. You can change the other users. All these concepts are covered in our other course. So let's move forward. We have file commands. So as you know, ls just lists the contents of a directory, ls-la, even displays the hidden ones. So every hidden file in Linux starts with a period. We can print the working directory, so pwd. We can make directory, remove files. We can forcefully remove a file. We can remove a directory with -r, and also we can do this forcefully with -rf. So cp is simple enough, and also mv moves files. We can create symlinks. These ln commands just create symlinks for you, and the syntax is ln-s, the path to the file that you want to create symlinks from, and also the link name. So think of them like the Linux shortcuts. So we have touch, which creates an empty file. You can cat the files, and there's a lot that you can do. For example, you can encrypt the file. Let's go to the home folder, the desktop, and touch. Let's echo test to test.txt. So if I cat test, you see, and we can encrypt this file. So it asks for the password, so I put the password of password, re-enter, ls, you see the file is encrypted. The file command just reads the magic bytes of every file, which is the headers of that file, and specifies what contents are inside of this file. So as you see, it says GPG symmetrically encrypted data. So in terms of encryption, we have symmetric encryption, which uses only one key for encrypting and decrypting, and also we have asymmetric encryption, which uses two keys. So as you see here, we have symmetric, which means with one password or one key, encryption and decryption happens. So if I want to decrypt this file, I say GPG and test. I think my operating system or Kali Linux just cached the password somewhere, but for now, let's just move forward. So this is how you encrypt some file. So WC is a really handy command. For example, sequence just generates numbers for you. So I say from number 0 to 1, incremented by 1, go through 1000. So you see, and if I want to count these numbers with WC-L, as you see, it's 1001. I can count the characters, that number of characters. So we have xargs, execute commands from a standard input. So for example, you can say, who am I? So there's an output into this command. You can move it to xargs and give it to passwd. So you see passwd, and it will be like I ran passwd Udemy. So you see, the output of this command will be with xargs an argument of the next command. So you see, this command here is just like this command. So if I run it, it will ask for the password change, but without any interaction. So we couldn't change any passwords here. So let's continue the process related commands. We have ps, we have ps-aux, which prints every command. We can use the forest module, which shows you what processes are the child of what processes. So a great graph here. As you see, we have user, we have the PID, the CPU usage, the memory usage, in terms of time, the amount of virtual memory, the physical memory, the TTYs of every process, the stat of that process, the start time, and the command. As you see, we have a lot of information here. So you can monitor, for example, Firefox, to see every Firefox process here in different stats. So this is a really great command to see what is going on in your system. So as you see, we can grep different values. So pmap, the top command, which monitors your processes. So you can install htop. I recommend you to install it right now. So htop is process monitoring and is really great. As you see, the top is not visualized enough, but htop, as you see, it monitors your CPU, the memory, the swap, the number of the tasks, and the uptime of the system. And also we have the PIDs and other information. And we have sort power here. We can sort on time, we can sort on CPU, for example, CPU usage. We can sort on memory usage and others. We can sort on PID. So let's continue on. As you see, we have background tasks. We can kill a process. So we can say sudo kill -9 Firefox ESR. So you see, we have no Firefox here. But so kill kills on every run level. -9 is just forcefully killing the processes, and the Firefox, which is the process name that we want to kill. So we can pgrep Firefox, for example. So let's run Firefox again. Yeah. And we could say, for example, pgrep Firefox. You see the PID of Firefox is retrieved through this command. So there's a lot. We can make a process run with very low priority. Really nice 19 PID. We have PS3. You see all the processes in tree format. So let's move forward to the next part of this cheat sheet. So file permissions. So the link for this cheat sheet is also in the resources of this lecture. So we can change the permissions of a file. So if you see, for example, ls-ltrha on a slash, as you see, we have different permissions here. So let's see. Let me zoom in. So whatever L at the beginning of the permissions, it says it's a symlink. So it's a shortcut. As you see, shortcuts to different addresses. Whenever you saw the D letter, it means it's a directory. And when you saw nothing, it's a file. So for example, let's see, on var log, you see we have the hyphens or the dash, so it's a file. And we have user owner, which is the first column in here with the name root, for example. We have the group owner, and also we have others. So in every file or directory, we have 3 basic permissions. So as you see, for this directory, for example, the current directory, the dot means the current directory. It's a directory. We have read permission, read, write, and execute permission. So W is write, X is execute. For the user root, and we have read and execute for group root or the group owner. And we have read and execute for everyone else. So these are the permissions in Linux. So as you see here, we have chmod command, which changes the permissions of a file here. And the corresponding number or bit number for read is 4, for W is 2, and for X is 1. So whenever you say, for example, 777 on a file, so change mod, the command and also this number, it means set read write execute permissions to owner, group, and everyone else who has access to the server. If you say 755, so execute is 1, read is 4, so this is execute read, and 7 is all permissions. So set read write to the owner of the file, so this is the owner. Set read execute to the group and everyone else. So 766 means read and write. So this is so simple. I don't think you need any more explanation here. You can change the owner of the files. Let's see the permissions of this file. So you see we have read write, read, and read. So I can say chmod, for example, 440 on test. If I get again, so you see 4, 4, and 0 is 0, means no permissions. But you can also change, for example, change owner of the file and say the owner of this file is user root and group Udemy, for example, on test. Operation not permitted because we cannot assign a file to root user because we are a normal user. So sudo, and this is possible. So let's see. So as you see, let's change the permission again because I want to show you that we don't have any permissions at that time. So now the permissions are only the user owner can read the file. So if I do cat test, permission denied. But if we change this to this, yeah, because we are in the group Udemy and group Udemy has read permission, but we cannot write into this file. So you see here, file is not writable. So these are the permissions of the Linux, and you can go and read those permissions more and more. But let's get to the network part. IP-ADDR. So IP-ADDR shows the IP address of different interfaces. You can assign IP address to the network interfaces. You can display again. You can ping, get whiz, dig, which is retrieve DNS information about the domain. So we can double get a file. It's actually shell-based browser. So netestat is really important. So you can run it with sudo netestat -ntlpa, and for example grep for established connections or listening ones. You can go for, we don't have anything here. Let's see what we have. Oh, we have little connections, so let's refresh some pages and see what happens. So you see, we have established, we have listen and other types, and the process is specified with the process number, the status of the connection, the source port and the IP address, the destination port, this is the port, and the destination address, and other information here. So you see some connections are sent now, and you can grep these connections for yourself. Let me explain to you the awk. Awk is a text processor, and you can use it here, for example, to do print $1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So column 5, print column 5 for me, as you see. So let's continue. We have netestat. You can create an archive file with tar. So let's see, tar.cf, test file. I think the name, yeah, the name comes first. So test.tar. Let's see if we have test.tar here. You can run tunar, which is the file manager of XFCE, and see the contents of test.txt here. So let's continue. So creates a gzip. Gzip has more compression level. So tar-zvcf. What was that? ZCVF. Yeah, it's correct. And the name of the archive, let's say, for example, let's put it in temp and call it udemy.tar.gz. And what we want to archive, we want to archive the whole Udemy home folder. Let's do it. It might take a lot of time because we have tons of files in this home folder, but we will continue and come back here. So Control A and C creates a new window here. So these are the great features of Tmux that I like. Let's continue and we will get back to that command later on. So it creates a gzip, and gzip a file compression, a file with gz extension. So you see, you can do the encryption like this. Control A and the number 1 comes back to this home folder. Let's say temp Udemy that are, let's move it here into the desktop. So Udemy in here, let's see the size. So you see we have 76 megabytes of file, and we archived everything here. Let's see. We have home, Udemy, and all our files here. So this is really great that we could actually do that we could do compression and also archiving all together. So installation of the packages is not with RPM package manager. RPM is for CentOS, Red Hat, and others. But here in Kali, as I told you, we have apt. You can search for example, SQL Map, which is a database takeover application. So database injection tool. So after search, you could, for example, search for SQLM. So search is this. You can just search parts of the application that you want and grab the whole package here. So sudo apt install is for installing applications. You see we have SQL Map installed right now. Control A, double quote. So sudo apt update. Update is our repository packages, and we can do sudo apt upgrade. So do this time to time, for example every 1 month, and keep your packages upgraded and to the latest version to have everything all together. So let's see if you have any. Let's kill this with Control D. Let's see if you have the latest packages. So continue. Install from source. So there might be situations that we do that, and you will see the examples there, but you see 3 steps here. The configure command, which grabs the dependencies for you and installs them, or tells you that you should go and install them. Make just compiles the source code for you, and make install just put the binaries into the correct path of operating system. So we have search. Grep is for search, as you saw. So as you see, we have 1 gigabyte of updates. Let me do that later on. So for now, we installed the SQL Map. So grep, let's go to the var log because we have a lot of files here, and we can sudo grep-r to do recursive search and search for example, password. Let's use the tmux buffer, and you see password in every file. We have a lot. So grep is for doing search. You can locate files, but before that you have to do sudo update db. This is just like an index file inside the Linux operating system. So sudo locate password. Do we have any file with the name password? As you see, we have, and all these are indexed inside our operating system in a file, of course. So you can do find. You see the find command just searches every directory and every file and lists them for you. So these permission denieds are omitted with this syntax, and it says, it's really simple. It says 2 is error messages and 1 is the standard output. It says, okay, these error messages, so these are 2 and these are 1. This is so simple. So it says direct these errors to the dev null. Dev null is nowhere. So let's run this program again. As you see, we don't have any errors. But if we say, I don't want to see a standard output and I want to see errors, you see, only errors are showed to us. So this is find command. Find has a lot of capabilities which we will work on during this course. But for now, let's move forward to the login. So doing SSH is really simple. We can do SCP or rsync, which is for syncing or copying files from one server to another. So we have these usage commands, df-h. So you see my root file system has used 8 gigabytes until now, and I have 177 gigabytes altogether available for me. And other commands, for example, fds-l, we need sudo. So you see my connected devices here. So you see dev st1 through 5 are the partitions of this operating system. So not all these commands are common in our engagements, but you could face some of them. So that's it, everyone. That was a basic Linux command line. And again, I will recommend you to do self-study on this because this is not a Linux course, and we have to get to the most important parts, which are about how to hack a system at first, but also how to secure that. Okay, that's it, everyone, and thanks for watching this video.